Just a couple days ago, the guy who was the owner of the lenticular deoxys has posted that PSA solved the problem. Here's how. Before we get into that, what is up, YouTube? My name is Jake. This is Rocket's Return. And today I'm talking about how PSA seems to be changing their tune a little bit to really take care of their customer. Let's start with the best part. This guy made a post. If you haven't seen it, his Instagram is bvo.tcg, and he has it up for you to see. This week, he worked with PSA to come to an agreement that made him feel comfortable with accepting it, and it must have been a decent amount of money because the original offer was terrible. But he says, thank you to them for working with him to reach a settlement that they felt was good for both parties. That's fantastic. PSA has not been the company to take care of the customer like that in as long as I've known them. I have been grading for a very short time, but I have been involved in this hobby for a very long time, and I have never been into grading as much as I am now, so I've always looked from the outside and just watched. And there's always been something when it comes to grading, whether it be CGC, Beckett, PSA, tag, it doesn't matter. But today, PSA, or not today, but this week, PSA made steps in the right direction that allowed this customer who had a lenticular deoxys card that was damaged when it was supposed to be reholdered. Long story short, PSA sold one recently on their own eBay, and then they offered him a really scummy offer. He didn't accept it. Good for him. He shouldn't. I believe the guy's name is Brian. Brian, if you ever see this, my applaud to you, sir, for keeping your cool, even though you probably didn't feel like it. I imagine that dealing with them and that troublesome kind of thing was really stressful, and I'd imagine you kept it pretty professional to get the outcome you did. Props to you, man. The best part about that is they heard the community. The people that posted YouTube videos, Instagram shorts, YouTube, shorts, Instagram reels, whatever you want to call it, crap, Twitter, Facebook, all the people that were in there, PSA definitely saw it, and they felt that pressure. They realized there was going to be reputable damage done to their name, their reputation, if they didn't do something and make it right. Ta-da! And that is massive. This is a win for the little guy, for me, your buddy, you, everybody in the community. It's a win for the community. PSA has acknowledged, hey, there was a mistake made and we have to make it right. It is not right to pay this guy $700 when his card was valued at something we sold. I'm gonna make this number up because I think it's wrong, but it's either 25 or 45. I'm gonna go in the middle and say it was worth $30,000. Okay, 30 to 35,000, and they offered him chump change to them. He did the right thing. He said, "No, I can't take that." I don't know if he had to get legal action, legal counsel involved. If he did, I'd imagine that they reached out and said, "Hey, per the laws of this, and this." You have to go off fair market value, which would be this, and because the last one sold was 2 years ago, whatever it may be, you cannot average those. The average would be the number that you most recently sold it at, because there's probably a limitation on that. I don't know that for sure. That's just what I think, how I think that would go. Now, we have another kind of an issue. There's this guy, VIP Pokemon, who's been posting, and he's been in talks with PSA. I do not believe he is handling the situation as good as Brian may have handled his, because watching his videos, he talks about how he didn't really push the subject with PSA for a few weeks. That's kind of a giant red flag. That indicator says, hey, I really don't care that much. We'll figure it out when we get to it. When really he should have pushed that envelope immediately. When your phone dies, you don't go, I need my phone I need my phone tomorrow. I'll charge it in 8 hours. You're like, no, I need to charge my phone now. What if somebody calls me? You push that envelope quick. Same concept. Just back to Brian's situation, because this is really just a great thing. PSA felt the pressure. They listened to what everybody said. And now they're showing, hey, we're going to do things to make it right. Okay. Now, the kind of both sides of this fence, and why I think that everybody who's just out here raging, calling PSA a bunch of scammers and, they have all these scandals and stuff. I don't think it's fair. And it's not because I'm some PSA fanboy and that's what I like to collect and who I like to grade with. It's just because I look and I see both sides of the fence. As somebody who ran a business that did millions, and that's not even a joke, up to 13 million a year out of a restaurant, okay, at that, a fast food restaurant at that. With a company like that, somebody who runs that, there are times of the year where things are busy. There are times of the year when things are busier than the busy time. And then there are times when they're dead. And when they're dead, you have to drive customers in. When they're busy, you have to maintain that customer base. And when they're busier than all hell, you have to hope to God that you can put a team together to handle it, do your absolute best. And when there are fires, you have to put them out. You don't train people for, if this arises, we're not training people to prevent these things, because they don't always happen. And you don't know until you know. What you do is you say, okay, so here's this fire we were talking about. Here's how we fix this. And here's some training behind that so you can prevent it from happening again. That's when you get trained. So for these people that are reholdering these cards, imagine this. You're a multi-million, billion-dollar company, whatever, and you are the biggest name in grading, whether people like you or not. You're not a monopoly, but you're pretty close. However, you are the top dog. You are the chief in the station. You are the owner of all that is this company. And you say, hey, we have to grade 1 million cards a week, whatever it may be. And they say, how are we going to do that? There's only 100 of us. And you go, oh, well, we're going to triple or quadruple our staff. Oh, okay. But y'all have to train them really fast. Mistakes are going to be made. And it's up to the company to do it right. And the customer that feels that they were wronged, to not let up and to hold PSA in this situation accountable. You have to hold the business accountable, just like they would hold you accountable. If you, let's say, stole money from them, they would say, hey, we're going to sue you because we caught you stealing. Or, hey, we called the police and you're going to have to go to jail because we caught you stealing. They're going to hold you accountable. It's the same thing. I'm not saying PSA was stealing. What I'm saying is, hey, PSA has all these people. I'd imagine that they don't have any kind of crazy special tools for cracking a slab open. They may have something that kind of separates it, but I don't really know. So if it's like the rest of us, they have they have a cutter and they clamp the edges off, prop it open, and they pull the card out the best they can without doing any damage. They have a ton of new people. Some guy accidentally, slip, crack, smacks the card's damaged. Now it warrants a 6. Okay. And then it's the same thing with their grading. People are like, oh my God, this is so a 10. I'm going to send it again. And then it gets a 10. You might have just gotten a brand new grader. You might have gotten somebody who is so stuck to the rules because They are brand new to their job. They're fresh. They're trying to prove that they have earned, that they want that spot, that they want to be there for a long time to come. It could happen. And we don't know, and we won't know. Best thing I can tell you is stop assuming that everything they have is scandal. Some things are just mistakes, and sometimes you don't see these things until they pop up. You cannot just guesstimate when your next error is going to happen and exactly what it's going to be. You just have to wait for it to happen, and when it shows up and it rears its ugly head, you keep going. You just keep going. You just put out that fire and you wait for your next fire and you keep moving. I think that's all I have for you. I've got another video coming up next week where I'm going to talk about how what I have done to prevent myself from really running into issues like this. And if it does happen, how I would know, hey, I can't accept this because here's how I do my submission. It's nothing crazy. It's not like how to get a 10. It's really just, hey, if these things pop up, how to prevent that. And some of them are really simple. They are. But if not, best of luck. Anyway, I'm very tired. I said what I had to say. I'm super stoked for Brian. I'm happy to see PSA has decided, hey, maybe we need to fix these issues. And although the lenticular deoxys was lost, and I'm sure he'd rather have his card, it's cool that they took care of him. At the end of the day, it shows that there might be some change coming to PSA. And maybe, I'm not saying restore all your faith. I'm just saying, maybe we give them a chance and see what they do. And if you don't like it, you keep going to CGC Beckett or Tag. It's time for me to go. Appreciate you for watching. Peace.